cool to be here and to talk to everyone. So I'm the founder of Huge Leaders. We mobilize and develop young talent and leaders in Africa and Europe. Right now we work both as an NGO and also towards corporates. I thought that today I'm going to take the approach more so talking about how we view what's going on in the world rather than talking about what we do. So if you want to know more about Future Leaders, please let me know later and I'll gladly tell you. I want to start with introducing you to Marcus. And if you don't know Marcus from before, he is actually one of the co-founders of YSI, at least I believe so. And he is 26, 27 years old, and he is now the sustainability leader at Storebrand, which is this huge Norwegian company. Next up, we have Celia, and Celia is actually one of my best friends. She started her career as the sustainability manager at Aker Biomarine, and now she is the CEO of Catapult, which does impact investing. This is maybe the guy that many of you don't know, but most of you have probably been influenced by him to some extent. Martin is actually one of the guys that has started the companies like Cutters. They just recently started a funeral bureau. I don't really know their plans on that one, but they're doing a lot of cool things and really, really pushing new solutions into old markets. And then we have Christina, and many of you have probably seen Christina on the newspapers with an underwater drone in her hand. Christina is also pushing forward the importance of understanding what is going on under the water so that we can take more sustainable choices. Now, the reason that I'm bringing all of these people up is that they're all a part of the millennials generation. And we've all heard talk about the millennial generation for a long time. And usually when I talk about the millennials, a lot of people say like, yeah, we're actually implementing a solution to deal with millennials coming into the labor market right now. And I'm like, cool, I'm happy that you're doing that, because in 2020, 50% of the workforce, the global workforce, is millennials. So it is about time. It's also a fact that if we look at numbers globally right now, 50% of the global population is underneath the age of 28 years old. And therefore, it is fairly important to understand how these people think, how they act, how they make choices, how they want to work, etc. And one of the things that these people has a greater understanding of is exponential growth. How many people here understands the concept of exponential growth? Okay, so most people. I'll quickly explain it. It's very easy. It's basically what's happening with Corona right now. It doubles each time. So if it's first 2, then it's 4, then it's 8, etc. Now, an easier way to explain that is that if I stand here and I take 30 linear steps, then I'll be somewhere out on the hallway. If I do 30 exponential steps, I'll come 26 times around the globe. And the reason this is important is that this is the speed in which most technologies are developing. So we can't look backwards to understand what's happening in the future anymore. And if we do that, we end up having fairly wrong results. One organization that tried this was the Energy Information Association in the US, and they were setting the price estimate for solar energy. And here you'll see their forecast, and here you'll see the actual development. And this is pretty staggering, and it's really, really challenging to rephrase our mind, to think this way. But to be able to deliver to the existing markets, we need to completely rephrase how we work and how we think about the changes within the markets. Now, a lot of you has probably heard about the kind of saying better world, better business, or the other way around. And for quite a long time, that has been like all good and nice, but it's been really, really hard to talk about it and still have credibility. Now, that's the reason why I last year got a new hero in my repertoire. This is Larry Fink, and he's now my biggest role model. Larry Fink is the founder and CEO of something called BlackRock. And BlackRock is the biggest investment firm on the globe. And the reason this guy is super, super cool is that what he does every year is that he sends out a letter to all CEOs for the companies that they have invested in. And last year and the year before, Larry Fink sent out a letter, and they basically said that, hey guys, if you don't start taking responsible action, if you don't start putting sustainability as a core of your business model, not just like CSR projects, but actually implementing it in your business model, we'll withdraw our money. And actually what started changing, and what we see start changing, is that more and more corporates are actually doing this shift. They're understanding that they need to not only do CSR, but implement sustainability in all their kind of parts of the organization. This is also pushed by something called Business Roundtable. This is the biggest think tank in the US, consisting of all CEOs of the biggest companies. And what they're saying is that from now on, we don't only take responsibility to give profits to our shareholders, but we also take responsibility to give value to all stakeholders. And this is a major, major shift. And it's all, thank you, it's all about sustainability and basically pushing from CSR to implementing it in the core of the business models. It's fairly clear that this is super, super relevant towards how youth pick their jobs. A study done by a Fast company says that 70% would affect their decision to stay in a company if the company had a strong sustainability plan. 30% said that they had quit a job that did not focus on sustainability, and 64% said that they wouldn't take a job in a company that don't focus on sustainability. So this matters a lot. And what we see is that we see companies wanting to move towards more sustainability, but it's actually really, really, really hard because all of our structures are defined to do things the old way. And many times when you think of leadership or when you do leadership, it usually feels like this. You have a lot of people and they're all like standing on different start points and they want to get to different points. And now we're seeing a huge shift from basically a traditional part where this kind of management structures have worked, but with the new goals, with the new markets, they don't really work anymore. So this is how it's been before. You've basically had one person that is paid to make sure that the rest of the 10 people do their job. Now, if you have one product and you just want to replicate that job, this makes enough amount of sense. But if you have this equation, you now have 11 people and their only job is to make sure that the other hundreds are getting their job done. You can still argue that this makes sense. It gets a bit harder though if you have 111 people that are hired only to make sure that the rest of the 1,000 does their job. And to many extents, this is how it has been working up until now, and that is because we have been working in a complicated system, and now we're working towards a complex system. So before we've kind of said, if I turn around on this, then this will change, and then the clock will be fixed. While as of now, it's more towards the complex system. So if I'm a cat woman and I kind of want to feed my cats, and I open the door, I don't know which cat is going to jump first and how that is going to affect the other cat, etc. You get the point. So now we are more towards the complex structure right here. And that leaves everyone kind of in this setting. We are in a split because we all know that we need to innovate, but for the general company, they still get 98% of their income from normal business operations and only 2% from innovation. So it's really hard to push for the innovation all the time. But still, we need to do this shift. And then the KPIs become very, very important, because you can't say that I need innovation, I need new thinking, I need sustainability without start measuring it. So starting measuring it is going to be crucial. Now, I basically just want to leave you with the thought that this is kind of the market that we as young people and basically everyone are going into in the workforce, and it's really, really complicated and it's really complex to both navigate and kind of understand. What is crucial, though, is to keep in mind that the focus and shift towards sustainability at the core of the business models is actually happening, and it is pushed from the most important people in business. So as young people and as forward-thinking people caring about the planet, we can all help do that push. So happy that you're doing this event, and thank you for letting me talk.